Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to give you very important MCQs from the topic biological classification for your NEET examination. Okay, so let's start the class. I will explain each and every question. Okay students, let's see the first question. The first question is, which scholar made one of the earliest scientific attempts to classify living organisms? Options are Linnaeus, Darwin, Aristotle, Whittaker. For this, the correct answer is Aristotle, because Aristotle made one of the earliest scientific classification. Okay, let's see the second question. Aristotle classified plants based on which criterion? Options are cell structure, mode of nutrition, morphological characters, genetic similarity. For this, the correct answer is morphological characters. Aristotle classified plants into three groups based on their morphology. The three groups of plants are trees, shrubs, and herbs. He classified trees into three categories: trees, shrubs, herbs, based on their morphology only. Okay, let's see the next question. According to Aristotle, animals were divided into two groups based on the presence or absence of. Options are limbs, red blood, backbone, lungs. For this, the correct answer is red blood. Yes, students, Aristotle also classified animals into two groups based on the red blood. Animals with red blood were placed in one group, without red blood were placed in another group. Okay? So the correct answer is red blood is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. The two kingdom system of classification was proposed in the time of. Options are Whittaker, Linnaeus, Darwin, Haeckel. For this, the correct answer is the two kingdom system was proposed by a scientist Linnaeus. That is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Which two kingdoms were included in the two kingdom system? Options are Protista, Monera, fungi, plantae, plantae, animalia, fungi, and Protista. For this, the correct answer is plantae and animalia. Linnaeus have proposed the two kingdom system of classification. He classified all the living organisms into two kingdoms. They are nothing but plantae and animalia. Let's see the next question. The two kingdom system of classification did not distinguish between. Options are plants and animals, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, autotrophs and heterotrophs, vertebrates and invertebrates. For this, the correct answer is prokaryotes and eukaryotes is the correct answer. So, the two kingdom system is just based on the visible characters such as their morphology. Plants are non-motile, they cannot move from one place to the other. Animals are motile, they can move from one place to the other. Just based on their morphology, Linnaeus classified all living organisms into two kingdoms only, nothing but plantae and animalia. Okay, so it did not distinguish between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, let's see the next question. Which of the following groups created difficulty in the two kingdom classification? Options are ferns and mosses, microorganisms that did not fit into plantae or animalia, vertebrates, angiosperms. For this, the correct answer is microorganisms that did not fit into plantae or animalia. That is the correct answer. Two kingdom system of classification was just simple, but many organisms could not be placed either in plants or in animals. Just like microorganisms, they were not placed in plantae or in animalia. Okay, that's why the answer is microorganisms that did not fit into plantae or animalia. That is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Why was the two kingdom classification considered inadequate? Options are: it was too complex, it required modern technology, many organisms did not fit into either Plantae or Animalia, it included five kingdoms. So this is also the same question just like previous question. Here the correct answer is many organisms they did not fit into either Plantae or Animalia. For example, microorganisms he did not kept in any kingdom. That is the correct answer. Okay, so let's see the next question. Which of the following characteristics was added beyond grass morphology for improved classification of organisms? Okay, for these options are eye color, cell structure, height, body temperature. So scientists started considering other important characters such as cell structure, mode of nutrition, reproduction, habitat, cell morphology. Okay, so depending upon this, the correct answer is cell structure is the correct answer. Okay, scientists they started considering other important characteristics such as cell structure, mode of nutrition, reproduction, their habitat, evolutionary relationships, etc. For this, the correct answer is cell structure is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Which of the following is not mentioned as a characteristic used for classification? Options are nature of the cell wall, mode of nutrition, blood group, habitat. Okay, for this the correct answer is blood group is the correct answer. Okay, why? Because blood group is not considered in the classifications. Okay, why? Because cell structure, mode of nutrition, reproduction, habitat, evolutionary relationships, they are all considered during their classification, but blood group is not included in their classification. That's why the correct answer is blood group is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Classification systems have changed over time mainly because options are organisms stopped evolving, new organisms were discovered only recently, more characteristics and scientific understanding were considered, living organisms became more complex. For this, the correct answer is classification systems have changed gradually and they improved over time. Scientists realized that more kingdoms were needed to classify the organisms properly. Only Plantae and Animalia they were not sufficient to classify the all living organisms. Okay, so that's why the correct answer is more characteristics and scientific understanding were considered. That is the correct answer. Let's see the next question. Which kingdoms have remained constant in all classification systems? So, options are fungi and protista, Plantae and Animalia, Monera and protista, Monera and Plantae. For this, the correct answer is Plantae and Animalia. That is the correct one. Even though the classification systems gradually improved over time, plant and animal kingdoms were still important. They should be there in the classification. You have to understand this, students. Okay, so let's see the next question. What has changed over time in classification? Options are the biological names of organisms, the shape of organisms, the understanding of which organisms belong to which kingdom, the number of plant species. For this, the correct answer is the understanding of which organisms belong to which kingdom is the important thing. Okay, let's see the next question. The number and nature of other kingdoms apart from Plantae and Animalia. Options are have always remained fixed, were universally accepted from the beginning, have changed depending on scientist understanding, were removed from the classification. For this, the correct answer is so they have changed depending upon the scientist's understanding. Okay, so the nature of other kingdoms have changed depending upon the scientist's understanding. They have changed what time? Okay, let's see the next question. Which of the following is included as a basis for classification? Options are economic importance, evolutionary relationships, smell and taste of organisms, size of organisms. For this, the correct answer is evolutionary relationships is the correct answer. Evolutionary or phylogenetic relationships, they are the basis for the classification. Okay, you have to remember this, students. Let's see the next question. The need for improvements in the classification arose because options are grass morphology was insufficient to classify organisms completely, plants became extinct, animal classification was unnecessary, scientists preferred simpler classification systems. For this, the correct answer is grass morphology was insufficient to classify the living organisms. Why? Because other characteristics such as cell structure, type of cell wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, reproduction, even evolutionary relationships, they're all important. Scientists, they started considering all these characteristics for their classification. So that's why grass morphology was insufficient to classify the living organisms completely. Okay, you have to remember this, students. So ఇది బయలాజికల్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్ మీద మీకు ఇవ్వబడిన బిట్స్. ఓకేనా? నెక్స్ట్ వీడియోలో నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ విటేకర్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్తో మీ ముందుకు వస్తాను. థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ వాచింగ్, స్టూడెంట్స్.